Hello Astroflower readers out there, and this is going to be the collective monthly reading for November. Blimey, how time flies. Going to be an interesting month. We've got the eclipse coming out, the lunar eclipse. We've had the solar eclipse, which we've done a reading on. But we've got the lunar eclipse coming out, which I will be doing a collective and an all signs time-stamped next week as well. So that'll be very interesting to look at. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this as well. So you've got week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. That's on your relationship side, on your financial sort of side. This is the overall energy, and this is the karmic message. And this is for everyone. This is how we engage together, or the world as it's going through these cycles at the moment that seems to be getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Just to the moment it's going to sort of open up and into a whole new world, I think. Let's just see what's going on with the overall energies here. It's almost as if everyone's stopped. It's taking stock of the situation. I think there's going to be a moment, and I think this is tied into the eclipse, but there seems to be a moment where we all sort of stop looking around, questioning each other, saying, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you hear that? What do you think? What are we doing? Where are we going? This sort of thing. It's almost like a realization. Yeah, it could be a real moment of healing, of regrouping, basically. You know, stopping this frantic hamster wheel sort of scenario that we've got into over the last 100 years or so. And I think this is where we're going to start realizing that maybe we've got the technology and we could do this differently. And I think this is going to be in all areas. This is going to be political, this is going to be financial, this is going to be social, even religious or spiritual, as it were. It could even be a big change in the way of energy. I watch the sun a lot, and the sun has quietened down. It's got this quiet period going on in its high cycle, part of the high cycle that's going on. And there's a lot of corona holes, there's a lot of earth energies. So if you've got earth in your flower, do check it out. You've got the links in the description below, and you'll be able to see which petals may be being effective a bit more than others. As we go through the month, the sun should be picking up into a lot more sort of sunspots, which is much more sort of electrical, sort of fire and air energy. So as we go later into the month, that's what you should be looking at. But the overall energy here, I think, is more to do with healing, more to do with regrouping amongst us all, connecting with one another, just stopping and realizing what's going on. Let's just see what the karmic message is for the relationships that is between us. And obviously that's close relationships for us as individuals, such as family, friends, community, and couples, but also how we deal with it is in a way, in a collective sort of thing. Space, peace, and understanding. I think there's the flip side of this. So although we get the peace, space, and harmony, you can have the flip side of this. And I've been saying it for some time. I've written a book with Tanya Lawton, which is a book that's been coming out over a long time. It's called The Event. And I go into that a little bit about, you know, as we get towards the polar shift, because that's what we're going into, the energies of inverting, sorry. And it's going to invert our energies as well. And that's making people a little bit stir crazy. So you're going to get the other end of the spectrum. So there's going to be pockets where people are not going to have that space, are not going to have that peace, and they're not going to have that harmony. So I would be attentive to what is going on around you, and just ensure or encourage that space within you and that peace within you, and you will find like-minded people. Look at that, we've got 2 cards here. So we've got the Star and the Ace of Swords. So it is that having that clear thinking, that looking for that victory, that start of a new cycle, a real energetic, real vibrant mental energy, really. A lot about ideas and stuff like that. That's the Ace of Swords, and just cutting through the red tape, or cutting through the mist in a way, clearing the air so we can see a lot easier. But we've also got the Star, so these should be tied into our dreams and desires. What do we want as a collective, as a future going forward? As an individual, myself, I want a lot more sort of respect between people. And that's also on the financial sort of front and on the political sort of front, but also within the spiritual sort of side as well. And that's what I'm looking for. You may be looking for the same thing. And if there's enough of us looking for that sort of thing, that's one of the ingredients that we will get going forward as a desire. You know, if you're looking for more time and more time for yourself and stuff like that, and if there's enough people looking for that, then therefore we will get that as well. It's the intention that we give our desires which is going to be really important. So this is the karmic message for this week in regards to the relationships, of putting the intention onto our desires and our wishes and our hope. Not hopes, because I'm not a big fan of hope, but you know, wishes and desires for the most beautiful outcome, basically, in regards to the relationships that are around us. Let's just see what's going on in the first week here of November. It's almost like it's like the apple cart's been upturned, and in a way, the reason the apple cart's upturned so we can get the bad apples out. That's what it seems like. It's the start of the new cycle. So we go in this first week of November, which is this week here, as it comes out today. This is coming out on the 31st of October. So as this comes out today, this first week is going to signify this new cycle. And sometimes to do a new cycle, you have to have a bit of a tower moment. And within relationships, I think here is just sorting out the bad apples, or the apples that need help, maybe need that healing aspect, who don't get the picture, who feel a little bit frantic about the changes, about what is going on in the world, between humans, in relationships. And I think this is a new cycle where people are going to take, it seems like we're going to take command almost, you know, or control over our own destiny, our collective destiny. And that seems really beautiful. That seems really beautiful. Let's just see how, so in this first week, that is it. It's recognizing what is not working. And this is the start of the new cycle. This is how we manifest a new relationship between each other. And this could be between nations as much as between you and your neighbors, your town, your village, your your community or your family. There's lots of aspects where it's all going to, everything's going to be put on the table by the looks of things. Let's just see what's going on in the second week. Now, this is the eclipse week. So it's going to be interesting what comes out of here. A big bright light. It's almost like the devil's turned up and sort of shining its light, sort of saying, look at the mess, guys. Look what's going on. Look at this that we need to deal with. It's the new cycle. It's a new period. All this is all to do with the new period. And she is shining that light. That light's coming in from behind her. She's walking through, which is, I look at it as on the Viaphon. And the Viaphon is where the snake is eating its tail. And if you look up into the stars at night and you look at the Milky Way, you can see the Milky Way. It breaks like a snake's mouth, and then you get the other part of the Milky Way which goes into it. And that creates that circle, that galactic circle that we're going through the center point where, so this is what all to do with the pole shift as well. As we go through the energy, we change from a negative charge vibration from the universe into a positive charge vibration. And that is affecting our solar system. It's affecting all planets at the moment. It's not just planet Earth, it's everything that is concerned in it. And we are electrical beings as well. And this is this light that we're talking about. It could be a big solar flare, I suppose. It doesn't come across as a big solar flare. It's more sort of, because that's much more on the physical front. We may see it on this sort of side. But on this side, it's more sort of like it's shining a light on the relationships or the situations that we have allowed us to be led into. That is really important. And it's not the fault of the general people. The general people, I think me, you and everyone, everybody's, even if you've got family or not, I think most of us just want the best for our kids, want the best for our family, our friends, our community. There's a whole sort of thing of driving towards a direction that the majority of people just don't want. All this to do with wars, to do with power, you know, saber rattling and stuff like that between nations. I think the majority of people just don't want that sort of thing anymore. And if we need to manifest that. We need to sort of start expressing that idea of the desires that we want. And if we don't want this sort of thing, then, you know, this sort of activity, this is what you should keep within your mind to manifest going forward. Let's just see what's going on in the third week. Now, this is the week after the eclipse. So this is going from the sort of like the 12th, I think, up to the 19th or something like that. You know, around about that sort of point, 11th to the 13th to the 20th. Let's just see what's going on here. Busy, busy bee. This is where you're going to really start connecting with people around you. I think it's going to be a very sociable month or week that week in the third week. I think this is connecting in this new cycle that's going on. We're going to start connecting with one another in different ways. And this doesn't necessarily mean through social media. I think this is much more direct connection. This is connecting directly with your neighbours, your friends, helping each other out. It's a bit like pulling together. It's really pulling together. She's looking at that one flame. We got the Queen of Wands here, so it's about concentrating on the here and now and what is around you, the immediate surroundings, and being passionate about your immediate surroundings, being passionate about your friends, family, your community, the people that are around you that matter to you, and also the people that don't matter to you. It's connecting with everybody and making sure everybody's okay. Because if everybody is okay, then we don't have to worry about a great deal. There's not going to be a lot of, you know, crime and that sort of thing. Looking after each other is really important, but that starts by looking after oneself. So I think here is kind of sort of saying, recognizing the position that you find yourself in, and then you can apply the best of you to the collective situation that is around us. And she's, as I say, she's looking at that one candle in her hand, and she's concentrating on that moment of being very passionate about it, being very excited, but at the same time she's got lots of candles around her. And this is sort of like encouraging those other candles that are around her for people to pick up, look at, concentrate and share. Because sharing is the most important thing, is sharing your happiness and sharing that good time with other people. If you do that, if we do this as a collective, we could get those really good hearts and desires for the going future. We could change the human race of how we do things. End this cycle of boom, bust, destruction, creation sort of thing, which is very universal, yes, but this is, I think we've been shooting ourselves in the foot more than anything else. We've got to move into this new golden age. That's what we need to do, really. And in order to do that, we need to sort out the bad apples that are in the box. So we can keep the good apples, as it were, help the bad apples to get through so they're in a better state. And as we do, and we start this new cycle going forward, and this bright light that shines it on everything, we're going to have to get busy, but busy in a way that of caring for one another. And I think that's going to be in the relationship front, I think that's caring for yourself and caring for others. I think is going to be highly important. We'll have to see how it comes out in the fourth week. But let's just go over to the, this is on the physical side of life. So this could be anything from a geological event, a solar event. This could be to do with material. This could be to do with finances, because that's very materialistic. Money is not energy. Get that in your heads. Anyone who's telling you that energy is money is they're just after your money. It is not energy. Energy does not have a goal or purpose. The only goal energy actually has is for creation and destruction. It is that masterful, godlike energy that creates everything and also destroys everything. But it doesn't sort of kind of going, it doesn't vote one side or the other. It doesn't support one aspect or the other. It's looking at total exploration. And money is very, it has an agenda. And if it has an agenda, it's certainly not money. So do not be fooled by people telling you that money is energy. It is not. Get over it, people. It's about time we sort of grew up. Okay? Just sort of say, like, we've got the Nine of Wands here. It's real harvest time coming. Fruits are coming to the surface. And this is what this new cycle is about. Let's just see what the karmic message is for the physical side of life, the material side of life. They seem to be showing me a bus terminal. So it's like the buses is coming in. So we're coming to a point where you can get off one bus and get on another and go somewhere else. And this is what it's sort of saying here. Our karmic message here is, okay, now's the time to take a new direction. Now's the time to do things differently amongst ourselves. And it's in movement. It's organised. It's got a timetable in a way, and that's got to do with the energy of the pole shift that the Earth is going through, and the solar system's going through. And as we go through this, there's very synchronicity going on. So I'll be very attentive to coincidences and synchronicity around you and within the human race. Okay, so we're going to make it collectively. I tell you what, I got a funny feeling that we're almost going to go into this month. And I think this month here is being, rising to the challenge. It's success. And I think it's success after difficulty. But we are going to rise to the challenge where we're going to actually put this world in a different sort of vibration and stop this constant division between left and right, religions, transgender and all of that sort of thing as well, and non-binary. Just we're humans, we're animals that live on a planet with lots of other animals that we should also take into consideration. Incredibly, they're as important as anything else, as much as all the plants are important. But this here is rising to the challenge, I think, this month here in the collective. Let's just see what's going on the first week. Now, this is the week before the eclipse. There seems to be like it's almost like, when you boil milk, or if you're boiling pasta and you put the pasta in, and then the water sort of boils up, the bubbles sort of boil up, until you break the surface. And this is what is happening. That Two of Cups wants to come out. It is boiling up. These hands here are boiling up, as it were. They're bringing things to a head. And when you bring things to a head, all of a sudden, you're going to realize we can sort the chaff from the wheat, as it were. So I think this is what is really coming. I want another card on there for some reason. And it is a control of our emotions. We should not apply emotions to the physical world. You can apply that to your emotional side, the relationship side, but not to the physical. We need to take out the emotions of these things. So you shouldn't be emotionally driven, demonstrating, because that's all emotions. There's short-termism. It doesn't actually solve anything. It doesn't allow us to sit back and kind of go, okay, this is the situation. This is what doesn't work. Okay, why don't we try this? Okay, that's not exactly how it is. What do you think? You think we should try this? Maybe we can amalgamate the two. Oh, look, we've got a solution. This is where I think this is going to happen. And I think this is taking the emotions out and letting it boil up. And I think this could be to do with political, economy. And it's almost, as it boils to the surface, you're going to be able to see this, with that pasta I'm talking about. If you let it boil away, even with milk, you get that skin on top of the milk as it's boiling away. And, you could call it scum if you want. But it's that. It's realizing that within the physical world around us, realizing really honestly what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And, or within harmony. This is it. Coming back to this. Peace and harmony. Realizing what we're doing harmonious with the world around us in a very peaceful way, and that's in accordance to plants, animals, and the planet and the solar system itself, and realizing our place in the solar system. It could well be that. It could well be finally that the human race stands up and says to the universe, we are here. But in order to do that, we need to have a good close look at ourselves. Okay, let's just see what's going on in the second week. And this is where on the other side we had that light going on. Let's just see what's going on there. There's a lot of it seems like there's a lot of hot air balloons that are being burst, and things are just kind of going. It's yeah, hot air. We're going to realise that there's a lot of things out there that are just hot air, basically. Very passionate. It's going to make people very passionate, and this is where we've got to be very conscious about our emotions. But it's a childlike passion. It's almost. This is where there's two sides to every story here in the entire life. And this is what the Two of Cups is all about. There is two sides to that story. And I think here is where you get that childlike energy and that childlike enthusiasm kind of going, oh, wow, look at that. That's amazing. How can we do that? I'd love to be able to do this. Let me learn this and stuff like that. And I think in the physical world, because of I think it's going to be an economically system, and it's going to be coming in very fast. That's wants to come out. I think because I think it's going to play on the economic system, but also on the political system. It's the way we govern things, the way we organise, the way we work, the way we go about life physically on this planet. I think that's what's going to come into question and come into change in that second week. It seems like that to me when it's coming through there, and it's gonna give rise to a lot of collective solutions rather than one person giving a solution, a mono solution idea. It's going to come into a collective solution idea. Let's just see what goes on in the third week. Now this is the week after the eclipse. Let's just see how everything kicks back in. There is going to be certain people who, obviously, if you're in a very comfortable position, you don't want things to change. And I think those people are going to come to the surface. And as a collective, we've got to have the courage to turn around and say, no. There may be a lot of fear-mongering going on at that point to make us to sort of go back to the old ways of sticking in line and just following blindly what we are being influenced to do and corralled into directions into going. And I think people are just going to stand around and sort of say, I think this is the best way to deal with it in a way. It's just kind of sort of say, thank you, but no thank you. We're going to go over there because that looks like exciting. We've never done this. We've never lived together. We've never opened up all borders. Everybody can come over. But if the entire world came over to, let's say, the UK may even sink as a physical landmass. It's just not possible. So I'm a great believer that Africa has this beautiful opportunity to show the rest of the world, actually, we can do this differently, because they're starting from a situation where it's everything needs to be done in a way. It's not a derogative tool to Africa. I love Africa, and I've been Africa many times, and I love African people. I love the way they're very innovative. And they always find solutions. They're really, as a geological place to be in, it's a real solution-finding people, and I really enjoy it over there. And I think this is a great possibility for the unheard to be heard. This is what's going to be really interesting. And we've got, did I say it? You've got to stay strong. We've got to stay strong to this. You've got to stay strong to that vision of that heart, which is this desires here. And it's also that standing up and being recognized, finally being correct with one another, building on that respect with one another. It's going to be absolutely, the third week is going to be difficult, I think. Difficult to do, difficult to imply in the rest of the world around us. And that's where the social thing or the emotional side of things, I think is really important. It's going to have a lot of weight to bear upon what goes on physically in this world and how we govern ourselves, how we rule ourselves as a collective, how we financially deal with things, interact with one another. It's going to be, we've got to stay strong to the vision. It is a time of coming together. It is a time of healing. It is a time of looking at that past. Like I said with the bus station, that bus journey was amazing, but it's over. And we're going on to a new destination now. And with that, there's got to be a lot of forgiveness, harmony, space and peace that we give not only to ourselves, but as a collective, but also as nations and etc. Just let's get over it. We're all living on the same place. No one's going anywhere. No one's going to Mars. I guarantee you at the moment, no one's going to Mars. And the reason we're not going to Mars or exploring the universe is simply because we can't even get it together here. If we can't get it together here, no one's going anywhere. And we're all going to go through this pole shift together. And this is what this is all about. We have to get together if we want a future of some form of future that's going to be livable. And why not brilliant? Okay, so we need to stay true and strong to all of these ideas. They're actually all of them incredibly positive cards here. There's not one negative card here that I can see. You could say at a pinch that the Four of Swords is a negative card, but even still, no, I shouldn't preempt it. The fourth week could be a disaster. Let's just see how that's going on. If we stay true to this, all of a sudden, it's like we've been scrabbling over, scrabbling over a bit of, a plant for vegetables like that. And all of a sudden we're going to look up and kind of go, look at that, there's a whole forest full of berries. We don't need to fight over this one bush. We don't need to fight over this one zucchini or this one courgette. If you look around, actually there's loads for everybody, really. But you don't need more than you need. And that's where the respect comes in. It's going to be very interesting. So in this fourth week here, I think this is going to be, it's like a musical chairs and all things have changed. And, whilst people are concentrating on trying to get money out of you or trying to control you or force you into fighting one another, which is a complete and utter waste of time and space, all of a sudden, those people there are not going to be concentrating. And if we concentrate on the goals, we're going to be able to set something up that is completely different. It's unseen. That is a little bit, because it depends upon you and I. It depends upon us. If we rise to the challenge and we take out the emotions of the physical side of life, we can change things very quickly if we have the enthusiasm, the childish enthusiasm to explore and do, and have that determination of a teenager or a young person to determine to get things done and do things. It's going to create a lot of healing. And then all of a sudden that moon, a lot of moon thing, I think maybe there may well be a lot of sort of kind of going, wow, we did that in the past and no one knew. We did that to one another, no one knew. But there's got to be, this healing thing has got to be a lot of about kind of going, that was the past. That was the old bus journey. Forgive and forget. Not forget, but forgive. Forgive oneself for being fooled by it. That's all you've got to do. You can't forgive another person, because to forgive another person, you have to judge that other person. And you are no one's judge. We see individually what we do with our hands. So we are judges of ourselves. And on the relationship side here, this is going to be a completely new cycle. The way we interact with one another is going to be very refreshing. We should concentrate and have clear ideas of the desires of how we want these relationships or these interactions between one another for this going future. And as we go through those changes in the first 2 weeks, in the third week, that's when we should start concentrating on the here and now, concentrating on the connections with other people, bringing that big light of change to the fore, so then therefore we can actually have a very harmonious relationship with one another. Can you imagine if there was no crime? Can you imagine that? If there was no crime, we wouldn't need police. We wouldn't need courts. We wouldn't need prisons. Yeah, we wouldn't need a lot of the administration, rules and regulations. Yeah, we wouldn't need to put locks on our doors. So we wouldn't have to manufacture locks. All of a sudden, we wouldn't have to work so much and still do exactly what we do today and still get as much production out of it by cutting the workload in half. And then what are you going to do with that spare time? You're going to enjoy it with the other people around us. And this is what this is all about. Creating that space and realizing that we can actually do things a lot more simply and actually enjoy life a lot more. And it is unseen what the future is going to be in a way. We are going to look into that though, because I'm not going to leave it there. It is unseen because it depends on how we react to it. Let's just say, for instance, that we are going to interact and react with it in that way. Let's just see what goes on if we do. On the relationship side, I think for a lot of people, the change might be difficult emotionally to deal with. And that's where we got the Four of Swords, the overall Four of Swords energy. I think this is the main healing section that comes out here. And looking after one another, I think, is really important. It could be very emotional, and it could be because of the realization, basically. Ooh. Now, those negative cards are coming out. You could say it's competition. And this is where you've got to be strength and everything else. But I look at it in a different way, this card here. I look at it as a way of reaching for your better self. And if we do approach it this way, yes, we're going to have to look after each other. We're going to have to heal those emotional wounds of the past by enjoying the presence of one another. And once we do that, we can rise to the better self. That Five of Wands will be trumped by this Six of Wands here. If you're playing trumps, it will override this Six of Wands there, these Five of Wands here. And we've got to raise our game to the best example of what we can be. And then the overall outcome of it will be the Emperor. Mastery. We would have conquered our inner fears as a collective. And if we conquer those inner fears and those inner battles, that's what it's all about. If we conquer those inner fears and those inner battles, this is where we will come to. I almost want to do a clarification on that Emperor card. I can't resist it. I've got two cards. Okay? I can't resist it. It's seeing things in a new way and the starting of a new cycle. I'm going to put that over there. Starting of a new cycle and seeing things in a completely different way. And I think that is the overall outcome, really. It's going to start off, and the overall outcome of that, where there's going to be a lot of healing needed and rising to the occasion and being our better selves. The moment we do that, we can see things in a completely different way, have a very passionate future for this with this Page of Wands here connected to the Ace of Wands, of having a real passionate, clear vision for the future. And we would have conquered our inner fears to actually be there and live life fully. It looks really nice. I think this all depends upon the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, which is up there as well. And that is, as I say, we're going to be doing the collective reading on Monday about that, next Monday, and all signs timestamp reading on that on Wednesday. You will have the all signs timestamp reading coming out on Wednesday for November. But we've got to place ourselves in the collective. It is very important times at the moment. It's really interesting. It's a great time to be alive. Great time to be alive. You know. So, yes. Do enjoy. Do enjoy. It's going to be exciting. There's loads of links in the description below. I'm so happy you've been here and you've gone through this with me, and we can all get on the same page. It's absolutely beautiful to have you here on this channel. I really do appreciate it, very much so. It gives hope for the going future. Yeah, but in the meantime, all you Astroflower readers out there, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.